Okay, great. So, hi everyone. We've just had some technical difficulties with Sipho joining the call, but we are ready to go, I believe. Thank you so much for coming. And welcome to Growth and Truth, an African fashion talk series brought to you by Merchants on Long. My name is Modupe, and I'm from AfricanFashionWeekly.com. I am honored to be facilitating today's discussion with Michael Ludwig Hittinger and hopefully as well with Sipho Mbuto. Fingers crossed as soon as he's able to join. As well as Merchants on Long buyer Simendra Chetty. So Merchants, for those of you who may not know, is a long-standing icon of global luxury African fashion retail, and they are now celebrating a selection of SA Fashion Week's emerging talent in a brand new pop-up experience at the V&A Waterfront store from the 15th of June to the 30th of July. So you have a whole 6 weeks to shop from today. Johannesburg shoppers, we are not left out. From now until the end of June, we get to tuck into Merchants' wider selection of fine design at their Okapi store pop-up, which is on the Keys Art Mile. So today we will be meeting some of your, or who are sure to become some of your favorite designers. We'll get an exclusive look at pieces from their collections, now available at the Cape Town at the V&A pop-up, and we'll discover the whole truth about what it takes to grow a young fashion brand from the wonderful to the challenging. So all through the webinar series, you can share your thoughts with us here in the comments. You can share your questions with us in the chat as well. And you can also share your highlights and your learnings on social media with the hashtag growth and truth. Right, so we are going to begin with Michael. Michael, would you give the people a quick introduction to you and your work?
Sure, thank you. So I'm Michael Ludwig Hittinger, director and owner of michael-ludwig-studio, and our brand is a non-binary brand that focuses on sustainability within the zero waste aspect, and our aesthetic is very focused on Eastern meets African.
Great, thank you. So our very first question in terms of growth, on a scale of surviving to thriving, 1 to 5, how would you say growth is going in your business right now?
So say growth would probably be about a 3, if I'm honest. There's certain aspects, obviously, of the business that have growth. So I would say 3 for things like physical stores and online stores, because we've expanded within the last year, which has been great. And then on terms of like social media growth, I would say probably about a 2 or a 3, because you get, people these days go viral in like their first month and get like tens of thousands of followers. And we're not quite there. So I would say 2 to 3.
Okay, right. And what has been the best growth driver for your business so far? What have you experienced, say, in the past year that has really helped growth?
So I would say in the past year, the capacity to produce as well as our physical reach have really been a growth driver. Because in the past year, we've hired 2 more seamstresses in-house, which has been absolutely incredible. And then obviously with expanding into 3 physical stores, and now obviously the pop-up with Merchants on Long, there's more demand for the product and you need to be able to keep up with that as well. So those 2 things were kind of linked together.
Right. And because people tend to think of growth as a vague yet positive thing, could you tell us a little bit about unexpected challenges that came with it? Because everything has pros and cons, and so does growth.
Yeah, no, definitely. So I would say the unexpected challenges were really, for me, it was the employees. There's like 2 things really. The one is employees, because when you have more employees in your store or on your brand, it's not just, you hire someone to do a job to get it done and grow the business. There's also things like the emotional side of it, like you're now caring for that person, and that person's also part of a family unit. So our seamstresses are older, more experienced. So they've got like grandkids at home and they've got people that they feed at home. So it's also worrying about, load shedding for them, how they're getting to work, those kind of things I didn't expect. And then I would say the other one is probably more about each store and having a different customer. So for example, our store in Melville, there's a very commercial way that they buy clothing. So it'll be things like they'll buy more simplified silhouettes, more simplified colors, whereas the store in Santon, for example, that we've got, they're more focused on event dressing. So it's all about silhouettes and the fabrics and things that need to be a bit more extravagant to serve that purpose. So yeah, I would say those are the two main challenges we've had with growth.
Right. And how would you say growth has changed you as a designer? Because you're not just going through, or rather, you're not just facilitating this process, but it's something that's happening to you as well.
Sure. So growth it's really affected me in a way that I find quite beautiful. When I started 3 years ago, I had a very different aspect towards fashion and running a business and, fulfilling a customer's needs. They're looking for a garment, you fulfill that purpose and you move on. But what I found with the growth over the past 3 years is it's really become an investment with people. So it's about, listening to the customer, hearing why they're wanting that garment. Do they share the values of your company? Do you share their values? Is it a relationship that you're building? Especially in Africa, it's become such a, we're very proud to all be African and wear African. And it becomes a relationship. Like I've got a client of mine that I'm very close with, where we'll literally call each other and she'll be like, I've got this thing coming up and I need this. And how can you help out? Or is there a way I can style this differently? And that for me has become incredible to see that growth over the past 3 years, because it's not something you just have when you start a business. It's something you learn as you go through all of these steps.
Right. Thank you so much for sharing that. To our attendees, if you have questions, you can begin to put them in the chat and we'll start selecting questions for the very end of the session. But for now, while Michael gets ready to show us 2 looks from his collection that will be featured at the Merchants on Long pop-up, we will turn to Merchants on Long. Would you like to introduce yourself to everyone, Samindra? Sorry, Samindra, you're muted.
Hi, everyone. I'll try that again. I'm Sumendra Chetty. I am the buyer for Merchants Online.
All right. So, Sumendra, can you tell us a little bit about how and why these designers were selected for the pop-up? What drew you and drew merchants to the pieces in these collections? Let's start there.
Okay, thanks. A little bit about the relationship with merchants and SA Fashion Week. Of course, I'm always proud to attend SA Fashion Week, and then of course to be also selected as a judge a few times for their very incredible platform of new talent search. And that's actually how I met Sipho and Michael. And for us, that's a big part of how these designers all became part of this incredible pop-up, is growing this relationship with them, wanting to get to know them better, a curiosity about them and their brand's purpose, and also aligning that to Merchants on Long's purpose, which is producing locally and ethically and sustainably. And I find that these collections, what drew me to them is, besides being so incredibly unique, it's also just a different form of stylish, and it's being stylish in a way that extends to what it means to wear African clothes and what it means to be an African designer in a way that's different from perhaps the past or what has been expected of them.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for sharing, Samindra. Michael, we are ready for you if you are ready for us.
Yes, definitely. Should I just jump into it?
Jump right in.
Sure. So one of the looks that we've got at Merchants on Long is our emulsion dress from our Elysian Ego collection. It's based on one of our best-selling pieces, which is a utility dress, because it's just ultra comfortable. It's also sold in cotton sateen. So it's a more luxe version of a cotton, but it's a natural-based fiber. And it incorporates this detail that we've got running throughout our entire collection, which is like a a sheared panel piece that just draws more inspiration from the collection that we showed on the runway. And then it's got one of our signature details, which is a grow-on sleeve because it's more comfortable, but it doesn't remove from the look, you know, when you're styling it. It keeps the comfort, but then still keeps it stylish. And then another piece that we've got, or two pieces, which is look two, is we've got the thin shirt, which is this lilac color cotton poplin. It's got a raglan sleeve with a cuff. It's quite nice because you can style it with a pair of jeans, or you can do it more formal. And then it's got this frill detail that goes up into this beautiful bolt-up neckline. And then we're selling it with the fin skirt, which is more, it brings back this ruffled detail that we're quite known for from our last collection. And they style quite nicely if you want to go into the office, for example, or a night out. Or you can wear them separately and then just style them more casually. So there's a lot of versatility in the collection. But these are the two pieces we've got. And then the fin skirt, we're actually selling in black at the Merchants on Long pop-up. So those are the two looks that we've got, because it's quite a, you know, a selected amount of pieces.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing. That fin top is absolutely beautiful. I know you said it comes in lilac and then it's also being sold in black. Does it come in any other colors?
Yeah, so on our online store, we're selling it in black and white as well, just
Okay.
because we, you know, with when you're looking at fabrics, for example, what we like to do is we limit the amount of colors that we have available so that we don't buy unwanted, you know, rolls of fabric and waste. So we always sell everything in like black, white, and navy because those are your primary colors, and then we bring in a fashion color every season.
Okay. Sumendra, could you tell us a little bit about selecting these pieces for the pop-up, and I guess about the merchant's customer who would buy these?
What really drew me to Michael's collection is that there is something ageless about his designs. I feel quite a large age demographic could wear these designs. They're also very curve friendly, and like he had mentioned, office wear to evening afterwards. Super simple, and that's really what we want in a garment. I was drawn to the bright colors as well as the beautiful like the fin detail that he's got, the little ruffles. It's very, very Michael Ludwig Studio.
Thank you so much, Sumendra. And now we will turn to Sipho, who's been able to join the call. Sipho, can you hear us? Hello, Sipho?
Yes, I can hear you, Modupe. Yes, you can hear me.
Hi, Sipho. Thank you so much for joining.
Yes, thank you
Can
so
you
much.
give the people a quick introduction to you and to your work?
Yes, thank you so much. Apologies for late joining since I'm this side very, very far away. So I'm having like such a bad connection issues, but
Technical
hopefully you can hear me
difficulties,
that
yes.
side. Yeah. It's like, yeah. So my name is Sipho Mbuto, and my brand also is Sipho Mbuto. So it's a matching brand, established business from South Africa. I'm based in Durban. Durban is at KwaZulu-Natal, but originally I'm south coast of KwaZulu-Natal, where I was grown and raised. Then after I went to DUT, Durban University of Technology, to further my studies, where I did like my fashion diploma. So now I'm a creative director of this young emerging brand, which called Sipho Mbuto. So my brand, it's unisex. So I'm creating, it's based on creating a product that's accommodating both sexes. So we truly not believe in terms of like gender. So we're trying to like create a product that's unisex, androgynous, that can accommodate both male and female.
All right,
Yeah,
thank you so
so
much, Sipho.
Yeah.
So our first question for you, on a scale of surviving to thriving, a scale of 1 to 5, how would you say growth is going in your business right now?
Well, so far, things have been doing very well. So in terms of like growth, I would say like the growth has been like scaled up rapidly after putting more attention to digital platform, using social media as my tool of like marketing and selling my product. Because lately, I've been like using other tools, but after like seeing and having like putting more attention and approach on social media, so it's been like doing so well. So especially Instagram, which allows me to connect and be able to sell my product locally and international. Hence, is a small growing brand. There is like some challenges here and there, but it's part of the process. But the growth is very like it's, I would say like it's well excellent.
Okay, so out of 5, what would you give growth?
Well, I would say 3 at the moment because it's still like a young brand. You know, you're still like trying to find yourself. It's like, okay, am I offering the good products to the customer? Or so I would say like 3 out of 5.
Okay, great. Could you share with us what has been the best growth driver in your business so far in, say, the past year or so? What do you find is helping you grow? Things that you've done, people you've met, whatever it is.
I think collaborating with the Pick and Pay, which we did after COVID, so that was very excellent in terms of like be able to be a conceptual brand, but also at the same time offer something that is easy and functional to the market. So that's the first one. And then second one, being participating to Polymorder Fashion Bridges, which we did together with SA Fashion Week to Italy. So that was like excellent platform that where we were in international, and we attended like some trainings, meeting the buyers, which helped me so much in terms of like understanding the industry on its own, and how's the international markets looking at us as young South African brands. And then the last one, being part of SA Fashion Week, which contributed so much in terms of like my business and my growth and being the designer on its own.
Okay. And so, in all of that growth, in all of those things that have happened that you've tried to take advantage of and maximize, what have been the unexpected challenges that you didn't see coming with all of the growth that you've enjoyed?
I think like having not a proper organization structure, it's one of like the major issues or the down low for, I think, for all young emerging designers, having like the proper organization structure whereby where are your financials, who's be able to look into your or your supply chain. So luckily enough, I've got like a team of the people that like very supportive, as Sumendra, she's one of them also. Like she always like, okay, looking and see, oh no, I don't think this one works, or like having those kind of people who are like being supportive and truly enough, and be able to tell you that no, I don't think you are still like telling the story. You I don't know like what's the right way to use, but having
Story
like
that
the
you
proper
intended to tell,
yeah,
or the
having
story
like
that you sold?
yeah. And then also the availability of quality textiles, because South Africa, it's
It's a
kind of
textile
difficult.
desert.
Yes. It's kind of very difficult to get like those quality fabrics, or everything like that we have. It's sort of like imported, so we no longer have like our original all the fabric. All like the fabric manufacturers, we've got like quite a few, got quite a few. So most of the time we're receiving imports from other countries, whereby, okay, now you need to find your own way of like how you're gonna be able to finish and execute and tell your story, but using those fabrics. So which kind of like challenging for me.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
that it really expands on what Michael said and gives us a much fuller view of the challenges that designers face in growing from 0 to 1.
Mm,
So,
mm,
my final question, how has growth changed you as a designer? Sipho, can
mm.
you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. It's changed me to, it's kind of such a deep question, but I would say like to offer to the it's changed me in a way of like being understanding the product on its own. What am I offering to the market? Am I offering the product that's bringing the solution to the market, or I'm just executing or delivering a beautiful dress or trouser or whatever. So it's kind of deep. So it's changed me so much in terms of like right now I'm just designing for the purpose. So what purpose? I'm designing the garment that brings functionality, that serves the purpose, that also like telling the story at the same time. So durability, longevity, the sustainable product, and also yeah, designing the purpose, since we are a unisex brand that's delivering a product that's accommodating for both, a shirt that can be worn by you and then that can be worn by your brother. So that kind of functionality, and be able to understand that at the same time we are not just creating clothes for fun. So we are telling stories at the same time. We are creating products that need to last long and be sustainable at the same time.
Yeah, I was about to say that that functionality is a too often ignored aspect of sustainability. The further out you can extend an item's functionality, and make it with good quality, of course, the longer that item can live in different wardrobes in different times for different uses. So thank you so much for sharing, Sipo. I'm not sure if you will be able to share your looks with us from 2 looks that are going to be in the pop-up. If the connection is too bad, then we can just kind of move right ahead. But in the meantime, Sumendra, could you tell us a little bit about Merchant's relationship with Sipo and how everything has unfolded for the pop-up and why he was selected?
Perfect. Yes, of course. So Sipho has been on our radar since 2021 when he entered the new talent search competition. And of course, he's just massive growth strides since then. As he had mentioned, being part of the Fashion Bridges accelerator was really great for him, and to see his growth and to see him being featured in so many magazines, as well as just knowing that he is such a thoughtful person and an incredibly considered designer. I think we can all say that, given his answers. That is who Sipho is. A lot of the time I'm messaging saying, I think you're ready. I think you're ready to be at Merchants. So we have a great relationship with him, and it was all about timing. And this season, he really, he blew it out the water. He was fantastic. I think everybody in the room could feel the energy when the models walked down the runway. It was just something spectacular and a breath of fresh air. So it was a no-brainer that he'd be part of this fantastic pop-up.
Yeah, I was honored to attend both Michael and Sipho's shows this season at SA Fashion Week, and it truly was something incredible. There was just something different in the air about this new kind of crop of emerging designers, people who were showing for the first time or the fifth time. But it's really great to see growth happening, and to kind of be able to document some of that as well, because I think that's another thing that's been lost and kind of makes growth so difficult. We haven't documented what everyone else has done so that the people coming after them can learn from that and benefit from that. So thank you so much, Sumendra. Sipho, will you be able to share some looks with us? If not, we'll jump straight to our audience questions. We've made really good time today.
Well, unfortunately, I'm trying to share my screen with you, but it's kind of like I'm being disabled because I was going to share. I don't know if Samantha on her side, if she can share the screen of my.
Hold on, I will take care of that for you. Let us see. Stand by, everyone. Okay. For some reason, my option to add you as a host so that you can share has disappeared. I think in our post emails or post the series, we'll just send everyone a little bit of a roundup of the looks that will be available at the pop-up, because our series will run for the first half of the pop-up, and you will still have another 3 weeks to go into store, discover these brands, touch the items, feel them, understand them more, and shop. Right, so we're going to jump right to our audience questions. Michael, could we start with you? Our first question is from Nokukanya Makanya. Yes, I hope I got that right. How were you able to establish a sustainable distribution plan?
I don't think it's established, don't get me wrong. But it's definitely, it's an ongoing thing, because there's a lot of issues and a lot of problems that you come across, especially with distribution. Small things like couriering all your garments to clients or stores or whatever. It's sold in like plastic bags, so you've got to try and work around that. The CO2 emissions, for example, as well on the cars and everything. And a lot of companies aren't willing to be transparent. Yeah, so that's one of the things. And then I would say it's like in terms of actual distribution from start to finish of the actual way that you do it, it's a thing that you learn as you work. You know, like I know when I worked for Truworths as a buyer, there was a process involved, that the way that you can lay everything out. So from like design to what stores get what, you learn how to distribute to that, and then as the stock levels drop, how to fill that. So I was very lucky to learn that kind of distribution plan as well from working for a corporate before going out into my own. But it's definitely not 100% sustainable in the sense of the technicalities behind it, but also the way that we do it is still, it's a learning thing. It'll constantly change, and we're constantly trying to make it more efficient and better.
Yeah, I think there's also there would be quite a bit of surprise if people looked at the distribution plans across comparing independent designers to retailers, even comparing retailers to retailers. You'd be surprised how different everyone's plans look depending on the suppliers that they choose and the relationship they have with those suppliers. The needs of the particular customer. There are so many variables. And so that's what makes it so learn as you go, as Michael has talked about. Sipho, do you have anything to add about how you've been able to distribute product?
Yes, you can hear me.
Sorry, Sipho, we can't really hear you.
Hello, you can hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
All right. Yes, yes. No, it's the same time, since like we are B2B, or we are B2B business or we made to measure. So our distribution plan, so it's direct to the consumer or to the customer. So that's the only plan that we are able to deliver the products to the market or to the customer. Although we are still like growing up and trying to being available to the retail spaces, like we will be joining merchants on loan, whereby all the customers be able to come and see the product and have a physical like feeling. So that one will be our second distribution plan.
That's great. That actually hits upon another question, Sipho, specifically for your business. What has it been like to navigate going from made to order to working with a retailer that you'd have to supply a certain amount of stock to, such as merchants? How have you handled that change or expanding your plans and how you manufacture for this kind of relationship?
Modupe? Hello?
Hi, Sipho. I think Modupe might be frozen on her side. What I gather from the question is, what has been the difference for you and your business, as you usually do made to measure or made to order, and now you are supplying a retailer? How has that sort of affected or changed your production and distribution?
Okay, so now it's like expanding more people or having more people in the business. So CMT, whereby we are producing in bulk. We are producing in bulk, and one product being made being made in different sizes. So it's kind of it's kind of challenging, but it's the same way. It's a process, and it's something that we've told ourselves that yeah, we need to start like developing and understanding that at the end we need to be able to accommodating and supplying everyone one product but in different of sizes. I don't know if like that sounds clear.
It does sound clear, but do you find it to be something of a growth for you to now learn how to produce the same item in multiple sizes for an order? I think it probably is akin to growth.
I believe in exclusivity, so I believe having that one product that you own or she own. So something that like because like the way that I create or the way that I make these clothes, so it's kind of different from other designers. So once I do something, so it's kind of like I don't want to do it again. So that moment, it's I do it, and then done. So I don't want to reproduce it or be something that's gonna be like for everyone. I remember like last, I think it was 2021, I did a sketch for Yasmin.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone is like so crazy about it. So, oh, Sipho, please, can you make that sketch for me? Can you make that sketch for so it's like no, it was especially for Yasmin, and I, I I, since I do have that pattern, I can create it for you, but uh, I won't be able because it's just it's as much as the business at the same time, but offering that kind of the products that gives the feeling, because I'm all about feeling. So I'm just like, I'm not just creating clothes for, since I've said it earlier that it's I'm not a retail business. So I take my work as an art. So I just want to create those art pieces that makes people feel special and that changes their life. So as much as I would like to do them in bulk, but that exclusivity and okay, this is a limited edition, it's done, I'm not doing it again, so that's it. So my work, it's very close to my heart, and it's yeah,
Perfect.
yeah.
Well, it's a good thing then that Merchants is a boutique and only orders a few of each piece, so you don't have to.
Yes.
Great.
No, I really appreciate that.
More and more technical difficulties. Thank you so much, Sipho, for answering that question. We are going to move on to our final question. What are the best ways to grow your fashion brand? Someone wants to know, Nkosinati, I believe, wants to know what are the best ways to market your brand for it to draw attraction from consumers? So marketing through growth, or growth through marketing, rather. How have you executed that in your business, and what do you find has worked for you and what hasn't? We'll start again with you, Michael.
Sure. I mean, it depends really on the business that you're trying to grow. Because like, for example, with Sipho, he prefers, more exclusive pieces, more things. So that's going to be very different to someone that wants to produce, pieces that are more simplified and that they want everyone to have. So it does change from person to person. But I would say, like for my growth trajectory, I would recommend it to a lot of people. I went and I worked after varsity because I studied at Lysoff, and then I went and I worked at Truworths. After that, I went and worked for a bridal designer, a pattern maker, to try and get all of this information to form a strong basis. And then from there, I actually entered into SA Fashion Week's New Talent competition. And because finances are a huge struggle when you start, like I think I started the brand with maybe 2,000 or 3,000 Rand, because there's funding is not available. But for growth, I would say enter competitions like New Talent, because it teaches you how to take 2,000 Rand, make the most out of it, and then you get a free runway, you get free models, you get people like Sumendra who come and watch your show, and you're exposed to all of these people on a platform. It's free marketing. Like that's a really good way to get into the market. Yeah, and I would say, I guess that's one of the best ways to start growing your brand within South Africa.
And you were very prepared, I guess, to take full advantage of everything that the New Talent competition could offer because of your experience at Truworths with pattern makers, with bridal designers. So yeah, thank you so much for that, Michael. Could you also say a little bit about, I guess, the struggles of marketing today, specifically digital marketing? Because earlier you did talk about how social media is a little bit more of a struggle to grow on, to get organic traffic, to win at without paying for ads just nonstop.
So marketing for me has been it's the pain of marketing for me, because it's to try and do it organically. You've got, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, you've got YouTube nowadays as well. So it's a thing of like putting yourself out there and actually posting content that people want to see, but it might not align. For example, like my brand's not the most ostentatious, glitzy glam kind of fashion. So it's not something that quickly pulls people's attraction. It's more based on the values of the person and how they wear the garments, what they have. Like we've got a zero waste jumpsuit, which is, it wastes zero fabric when cutting it, and only particular people like that kind of thing. And it's not something that's going to make a huge statement. So that's kind of difficult. And then it's things like learning how to do SEO. Like, are there words that people are searching that will attract your product to that client? How you incorporate that on your website, on your Instagram, on posts that you do everywhere. Are there webinars you're doing? Are there pop-ups that you're taking part in? There's actually, it's a huge channel of marketing that you can get into for your brand. But yeah, for me in the beginning, it was a huge struggle. And only now I think I'm starting to get to understanding how to market a business, let alone a fashion brand based on value.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that detailed answer. Sipho, could we hear from you about what marketing or your efforts in marketing have been like? What have you learned? What have they yielded?
Yeah, social media, as I said earlier, social media using Instagram as one of my tool to market my business and be able to sell my products. So it's helped me very well, as I've mentioned earlier, that I'm be able to sell and market to the international market, which is like more supportive and more buying to the business. So it's one of the platforms which I'm really like starting to put more attention or more efforts to it, and it's helping very well. And yeah, but as a small brand, since I'm like very like traditionally, I believe in made to measure, all of that. But like, yeah, it's really like helping. So I just wish also like other I'm not like so familiar with like TikTok or Facebook or other digital platforms. So it's only like Instagram. But yeah,
Yeah, I think it's so important to have a presence on social media. And I think anyone on this call who is a designer or works on their own in some capacity has a story to tell about how difficult social media is and how much work it actually is to just make all of the content. And I think
yes,
there is, yeah, but there is something to be said for the value in it because there's almost no type of customer that you cannot reach on social media. Every
yeah,
type of
yeah,
person,
yeah,
even if they use it differently, even if they are on at different times, even if they are looking for different things,
yeah,
every type of customer is on social media. And so it becomes about finding where your customer is. Are they on TikTok? Are they on Instagram? Where do they spend more time? Where do they engage? And it also becomes about, I guess, sharing your story as authentically as possible because with people overwhelmed with messages, it's really only the authentic and organic that stands out these days. So just an added point there. Right, so
yeah.
we actually come, thank you, Sipo. We've actually come to the end of our first webinar. I hope you've enjoyed it. Our next webinar will be next week. You have seen on the poster which designers will be next. And yeah, we just wanted to say thank you so much for joining us. We hope you enjoyed the session and we will see you next week for another enlightening conversation. Please share your thoughts, your highlights, your learnings with merchants, with me, with African Fashion Weekly on social media using the hashtag growth and truth. And remember to make a date to join us at one of Merchants on Long's 2 pop-up events. Cape Town shoppers will be able to go to the pop-up where Michael and Sipho are exhibiting their work. You'll be able to go from yesterday, is when the pop-up started, until the end of July. And then Johannesburg shoppers can tuck into Merchant's wider selection of fine design at the Okapi store on Keys Art Mile from the 10th of June. I went to the opening, it was fabulous, and up to the 30th of June. Everyone have a wonderful rest of your public holiday and rest of your weekend, and we will see you next time. Thank you.